The views and opinions expressed on Beautiful Disasters are those of the panelists and not those of the Geeks Under the Influence Network, their sponsors, or anyone else involved. Also, there is going to be a lot of adult language used on this podcast, so please keep your little kitties away unless you don't care about them that much.
Welcome back to Beautiful Disasters, Schlock Abuse Edition.
Dun dun dun.
Yes, we are back, and we have a wonderful Schlock Abuse.
Yeah.
Which I do believe that I was trying to make up for last time.
Yeah, this is definitely an apology Schlock Abuse. This was way better than it had any right to be, and that I expected. When you had a very sinister look on your face when you were like, I have your next Schlock Abuse movie. And I was a lot more worried than I was after actually viewing it.
Yeah, I have to say, I did, for those that listened before, I did apologize profusely.
You did.
For not having previewed the last one I gave you, which...
I mean, it's okay. Look, I am going to watch what you give me, whether it is porn, whether it is weird techno shit, whether it is, animated, whether it's a standard film, whether it looks like somebody shot it on their cell phone in 1999 or whatever. I'm not going to be excited about all of those options, but the fact is that for better or for worse, I'm going to watch what the fuck you give me, whether or not you pre-screened it.
Well, I love that masochistic side of you. However, I will say that I do pride myself on curating my schlock and genre films to a certain extent. And I dropped the ball last time because I just gave you a title that I was excited that I bought from some shady motherfucker on the internet. And
it wasn't shady, it was what it was. And,
right.
It just... We took a chance. It wasn't our thing. I just didn't enjoy it.
Well,
which is funny because I do like watching Jess Franco and Joe D'Amato films. So I don't know what that says about...
Well, they're shot on film. But anyway.
Yeah, no, shooting on film was the difference. That's definitely what it was.
Let's move on from me. All right, so I'm making up for this. But...
Okay.
So this is a Schlock Abuse episode. Mm-hmm. This is Beautiful Disasters. We, check out cheesy movies maybe you haven't seen, cult flicks, B movies, whatever it might be. That's our thing here. And Schlock Abuse is where we inflict a movie upon each other. Mm-hmm. And it just so happens that my Schlock Abuse for you, Murph, was what?
You gave me a film called Chompy and the Girls. And you could have told me that title before. It would have been hard for me not to Google it. But the title alone, I was like, fuck, I'm in. I'm going to watch this movie no matter what happens. Shit.
Well, see, this was kind of the
so
thing.
Good.
I wanted to leave you in a little bit of suspense. Mm-hmm. And I know you are very fond of doing a lot of research and prep work for things.
Trying to get better about that because I know you like for people to go in blind a lot of times.
No. Regular episodes, 100%. And for the most part, in the future, it's not going to be a surprise Schlock Abuse. But this one time, I just thought it was going to be comedically appropriate, considering the last movie I gave you, that it was going to be a surprise, and I just wanted you to go in blind.
So. All right. I mean, and honestly, this was... I can only imagine what my face looked like throughout this film as I looked over excitedly at you and just not to spoil anything, but we're going to get into it pretty quick, but I did look over at Grutz at one point and excitedly exclaimed, "Oh my god, are they his mouth pets?"
Yes. So please tell me, what the fuck is Chompy and the Girls about?
Alright, do you want basic summary first and then full description?
Just jump right the fuck in. Let's get it.
So this film opens, and I wasn't certain because, camera work kind of mixed, but turned out to be much better quality than I was expecting, but we see a girl in her trashed ass apartment writing the end in like really like beautiful cursive, and then goes to a hot pink noose hanging from a ceiling fan, pretends to choke her hand, and then actually tries to hang herself. Fails miserably, breaks the ceiling fan, ends up just standing in her living room with the noose around her neck while the ice cream truck music plays in the background.
Life is hard, you know?
Life is hard.
And you should always affix your ceiling fan to a stud.
Yeah, also, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and say that probably wasn't the smartest way to go about that. But I'm glad that she didn't die because I like her character.
It's true. We got more from the movie.
It's true, yes. And then we get our titles, which I'm mentioning because that's where I got to find out that the title was Chompy and the Girls, and that I found out that Udo fucking Kier is in this movie, and that was exactly what I wrote down was, what the fuck is Udo Kier doing here?
In this low rent, cheap as shit food. Yeah.
That they all clearly had a blast making. And I think that was one of the things that, like, don't get me wrong, the film actually is very well constructed. The dialogue is good, the story is good, it balances ridiculous with heartfelt. But
comedic timing is actually pretty damn good in this movie too.
And she's got great crazy eyes. I know we talked about that, but So we meet our next two characters, which is an older man and lady that we later find out are named Sam and Deborah. And Sam comes home with sandwiches. Deborah is hard at work. There is like semi-nothing conversation that like Deborah is asked about but isn't listening to. Sam wants to talk about, but Deborah eventually gets annoyed even though she asked him. But I did write down the line, George is going to go swamp person. Yeah, he's going to go be a swamp person, going to go hunt alligators instead of making $300,000 a year. I was just like, okay, both of those sound great, but still.
Yeah, he's talking about a coworker deciding to go live wild. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, this marriage is disaffected and they're not even looking each other in the eye. You know?
No, they clearly, like, there was feeling there, but you can tell that things aren't great for either of them. So at this point, we also see him like putting on boots and some other stuff. And then we learn that our main lady is named Addie Jackson. And we learn this because she texts Sam and says, hey, by the way, I'm your daughter. Can we meet? And so he makes up an excuse, goes to meet her in the park with his snakeskin cowboy boots on. And she's got her super sweet, like, grommets all over in various sizes jacket on. And Lizzie Borden t-shirt. Loved that. Not the band, the serial killer. Well, serial killer is a strong word. Axe murderer is a better term.
Yeah.
Supposed axe murder. Anyways, I digress. But they're in the park. There's some small talk over her being his daughter. And, you know, him kind of not believing and her knowing just enough that he's like, okay, maybe this is real. And then he freaks out and says, I can't do this. I'll contact you. It's not that I don't ever want to hear from you again. It's just, I can't do this.
It's a lot to take in.
It is.
Within 30 minutes or 45 minutes.
It's true, but it definitely could have been handled better. Or potentially. Okay, so definitely on both of their parts, but neither of them are in great places in their life in various ways, and neither of them are handling anything well.
True.
And at this point, while Sam is telling Jackson that he can't do this, and this, that, and the other, she sees behind him a girl in a pink jacket standing there, staring at them, and then a man briskly approach her, his bottom jaw extend to about, I would say, mid-chest to belly button.
Yeah.
And then completely swallow the child whole.
Yes.
Notice them and begin to walk briskly towards them.
They obviously freaked the fuck out.
Yes. No, I think that's a very reasonable response. And so they go their separate ways, panicking. And they kind of think it's over. Jackson is then doing research on her computer, smoking 2 cigarettes at once on like either side of her mouth, which is kind of badass, but I also was worried for her.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no, cocaine and shit.
She's kind of into all the drugs.
She's got a, yeah. They make it clear pretty quickly that she's like cocaine is her main jam now. Later on, we discover that she's also a recovering heroin addict, and she's trying to move away from that, and it's been a hard thing for her.
Baby steps.
Yeah, which, fair. But then she hears a bang on the door, checks the door, there's no one, another bang, and suddenly the dude bursts through her door and becomes all mouth again. So, naturally we have panic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I would too. She attacks him with a broom, which, not her finest weapon, but it is ineffective. I definitely thought she was going to have been eaten. But then we see Sam making bread in the middle of the fucking night.
Toast.
Yeah, whatever. It's crispy bread.
True.
It's a nuance of bread that was unimportant to this story.
Well, I mean, making bread indicates you're rolling dough, you're putting down flour.
All right.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
he's
Sam
tired. It's the middle of the
toast
night. Yeah.
In complete darkness in his kitchen. Well, okay, there's a counter light, but it's still dude, it's your house, turn on a light. And then Sam bursts through the door and is basically we got to get the fuck out of here. I'm being chased by the big mouth guy. Make enough noise that Deborah wakes up, thinks that Sam is fucking Jackson. Jackson is no. Okay, so you didn't tell her who I am. Cool. That's a thing we don't have time to deal with right now.
Yeah,
great.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, there is a lot. But anyways, she picks up a knife and is basically I have these carnival level knife throwing skills. I will put this through your head, Deborah. Sam, get in the car. So Sam goes and gets in the car, and Deborah was fine, wait, don't forget your hat, and gives him this blue hat because it's cold?
Yeah.
Question mark.
So they abscond into the night.
Yeah, so they are off.
And they're going to a party or some shit,
the
right?
chapel party. Yeah. Someone that Jackson knows named Lotus is throwing a chapel party because apparently the cops can break up parties but not religious gatherings, so that's the idea behind them throwing a chapel party. I was led to believe that they would be partying in a church, which would make more sense and make them safer. They were definitely in some dude's house or apartment with the worst pictures of Mary and baby Jesus that I've ever seen, and crosses everywhere.
I'm willing to bet that this movie was filmed after the first lockdown was done.
Oh, is this super recent? I forgot to ask you what year it was.
It's a pretty recent movie.
Okay.
Yeah. So I feel and the fact that a lot of it happened in a house, they only had a few locations.
Yeah, no,
There's a couple people's houses, and then
there was one restaurant, yeah, the pancake restaurant. That poor waitress.
And some Hondas, and the road, and the park.
Yeah,
that's pretty much the whole movie.
Primarily,
super low budget.
Yeah, locations that you didn't have to pay to film in.
Right.
Which is smart.
But the chapel party ends up being a house party.
Yeah, and a house party with just shit everywhere. And we kind of get a feeling of where Jackson is, where Sam asks her, oh, are these friends of yours? And she's maybe? I don't know, we'll find out. But in the meantime, we also see that girl again. The girl in the pink coat is wandering down the side of the road. They don't see her, but we as the audience do. And that was when I was what the fuck? Is he pooping them out? Are they his pets? Are they aliens? What is this? What is happening? Did she escape his mouth? Are they mouth pets? I don't know. But anyways, so at this party, enter Lotus, who is super cool black dude with a blue lightning bolt in his hair, who knows all kinds of shit about magic and drugs and what have you.
Yeah.
And that's why they're going to get Lotus, because she's Lotus knows about weird shit. Lotus knows about magic, and he knows about paranormal things. We're gonna go ask him a bunch of fucking questions. He's the only dude I know that might know what the fuck this is.
He was kind of a zany, drugged out dude who had some good quips.
Yeah.
Definitely. And he was a dead ringer for that dude that played Chidi in The Good Place.
Oh, shit, yeah.
But every actor in this movie I've never seen before, basically.
Yeah, I didn't, when we were looking at the credits, I didn't catch any names that I recognized outside of Udo Kiers, which is part of why I was so shocked to see his name.
Well, yeah.
I mean, but so they're at the party and they're trying to get like information out of Lotus, and he kind of drops this like Rixella thing where like, because she mentions the girl and then mentions like the big mouth thing, but he fixates on the girl and mentions this like creature that attaches to someone like weak or insecure and like feeds off of them, but doesn't get to finish talking because while she has explained to him no, then this dude who opened up like his entire body as a mouth came and ate her, he sees this guy drop a roofie in another girl's drink and then turn around and get her to try to get her to drink it. So like, oh, don't walk away without your drink.
That is the best distraction sequence of the whole movie.
Oh my god, like time slows down. Like you hear all that sound around him get muddled as he notices it. And instead of like slapping the cup out of her hand and like knocking it to the floor, he's like, hey! Grabs the drink and chugs it. And then turns to the guy, and the guy's like, what the fuck? And he's like, that guy put a drug in there, a roofie in there.
Now, I'm pretty sure when I mention this, you know several people that I'm talking about. We have friends that would probably handle that situation the same way.
At least one of them might, but, you know, I still... But roofies,
just because
though.
It's funny.
But roofies, though, because that, like, you don't know if that's the kind that makes you sick or makes you black out or whatever. Like,
I think Will McCobb would just chug that shit.
I don't think so. I think he would slap that out of the guy's hand and then probably punch the guy in the face. But
that's true.
Unfortunately, poor Lotus gets punched in the face, but he's down but not out because he bites that motherfucker in the leg.
Yes.
And then at that point, we end up leaving the party with Lotus. So Sam and Jackson, and now self-roofied Lotus, and who knows what else Lotus, are back in the car, and they see this little girl.
Yes.
As Lotus is beginning to pass out. Vomit and then pass out. So they pull over, and they go to talk to her. And they find out her name is Birch. And Sam is trying to be, like, really sweet and nice, like, you know, where are your parents? And she's like, I don't know, and I'm really scared. And Jackson is having none of it and is, like, crazy eyes interrogator mode, like, oh, yeah? What are you doing at 3:45 in the morning? Where are your parents? What did you do yesterday? I don't know. What did you do? Where were you? Lots of places. I went to a movie. What movie did you see? Banana Man? And all I remember is that there was somebody else in the movie named Strawberry Jerry, but I just like
They get her in the car, though.
They do get her in the car.
And they head back to
Lotus's
place.
Yeah, they go to Lotus's place.
So Lotus is, like, fucking useless.
Oh, yeah, he is all sorts of, like, zonked out, wobbly, panicky.
Yeah,
like,
Jackson has to put his ass to bed, right?
Yeah, they get inside, and first we get the delightful moment of seeing the keyboard, and Jackson's like, what time is it, Birch? And, like, she thinks, and Sam thinks it's another interrogation thing, so Sam goes, it's 4 a.m., and Jackson goes, wrong, it's ragtime, and starts playing the piano.
That's true.
Then she does go put Lotus to bed, makes sure that he is on his side, comforts him when he freaks out, puts him back to bed, make sure he's on his side again.
Now, meanwhile...
And grabs a book that he has pointed to on his side, on his side bookshelf that is supposed to contain the information they need.
Meanwhile, some shit goes down with Dad.
Yeah, with Sam
and the
Birch.
little girl.
Yeah, she comes back into the main room and doesn't see them. And then she sees just Sam's boots sticking out from behind like the kitchen island. And she finds Birch crouched over Sam. And startles her, and she runs off in a panic. And Sam appears to be dead for a second, and then wakes up with like this big gasp. And we think that he's okay until he tries to stand up. And then we see what has happened. Something's wrong with one of his feet. So he takes off his beautiful snakeskin boot. And he has a baby foot.
A little baby foot.
Like literally a little girl's foot because he was beginning to be turned into a little girl.
Oh my god, it was awesome.
Yeah. So he's got one baby foot, and he is freaking out, just yelling, "Baby foot! Baby foot!" Which is fair. I'm not making fun of the man. I'm just saying that someone sitting on the floor yelling "baby foot" is funny.
No, that's a terrifying situation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Deeply horrifying. So Jackson is like looking at the foot, looking at the boot, looking at the foot, looking at the boot, and just like shoves some paper in the boot so that way he can wear his shoe. At this point is when Chompy returns. We're like,
yes,
yeah. Where and Sam is like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go talk to him. What else have I got to lose? I've got a baby foot. And Jackson is like, please don't do that. All right, fine. I'm coming with you. So they go outside, and they're like, hey, what do you want? Are you like trying to hurt us? What do you need? Are you trying to help us? And he gets, instead of saying anything, the man gets down on his knees, extends his jaw so that his mouth is, like, huge mouth is open, and begins pointing to his mouth. And they're like, you want us to get in your mouth? And he nods and points to his mouth. And then they finally, like, give in and get in his mouth.
Jackson dives in.
Yep.
Dad follows.
Yep. And then they are floating.
And then they are in another dimension.
Space. Yeah. Like, we're in bisexual lighting space with Udo Kier's voice.
Bisexual lighting space?
Yeah, purple, pink, blue.
Oh, I thought it was just retro new wave 80s neon.
The bisexuals have taken that. I've decided.
Have they?
I've decided, yeah.
Gotcha.
As a bisexual, I'm claiming that.
Fair.
I wanted to catch on more. But yeah, so bisexual interdimensional space and Udo Kier voice.
It's weird. It's some cosmic weird ass shit.
Yeah, where he's like, I'm here to help. Or, imagine I have a German voice. I'm not good at German accents. I'm not going to do it. I certainly don't sound like Udo fucking Kier.
So, I mean, what I gotta say is that for when it comes to cosmic horror and getting a voice,
yeah,
Udo Kier's a pretty good catch.
He's a great catch. That's why I was so fucking shocked when I saw it in the credits, and that's one of my first damn notes.
Damn right.
It's a quick shout out to Glorious, but it's about as good as getting J.K. Simmons.
Yep. Now, of course, Udo Kier probably only had about 2 hours worth of work for his 15 lines.
Yeah, something like that. So
it was maybe 3 minutes worth of
something like that. I would say 5 minutes max of him explaining the Rixella is what's going on, or I think that's what the creature is called, and that it is assimilating everyone to look like this little girl, and that that is what its mission is, and
it will take over the world.
And it will take over the world, and he is there to stop it, because if he can trap it in his mouth space, then he can fix it. He can get rid of it. And put things back to how they are supposed to be, including fixing the baby foot.
So they get the awesome exposition from Udo Kier.
Yeah.
And then they're back in the real world.
Yeah, and then they jump out of his mouth.
Yes.
And then they're just so relieved because he is going to fix everything. They can do whatever they need to do. It'll be fine. He's going to go off. And he is going to take care of the problem, and they just need to live their lives and not tell anyone that they saw him. And then Deborah.
Bang!
Sam let Deborah know where they were, so Deborah came to find them.
She was following with the GPS, and she
fucking with her phone.
She ran Chompy the fuck over.
Ran Chompy the fuck over, which, by the way, he's called Chompy because Jackson decided that was his name.
Yes, indeed. Yes. So then this is when everything kind of goes south of heaven.
Right. And this I just have Deborah Y written across my notes there.
Right.
So now we get Deborah in the car because Deborah has decided that she is coming along no matter what.
Yeah.
And this is where we get a little bit more of an advanced level of we begin the balance of family therapy and what the fuck is happening? Is this the end of the world?
Yes.
This is where they decided to go to the pancake house, right?
Yes. This is also kind of where, yes, I'm your kid and I know you're dealing with it, but also like Deborah and what's his fuck? Sam are realizing that their marriage is totally unhappy and they should probably split up.
Yeah, where Sam, while they're at the pancakes place, Sam makes almost a side comment of like with Deborah being like, well, what do you want me to do? And like, what do you think we should do? And Sam goes, well, maybe we should get a divorce. And Deborah goes, wait, what? Do you mean that? And they're in the middle of this pancake place where Jackson is once again trying to smoke. This poor waitress, because she takes their orders, and then all of this unfolds as Jackson is also having some sort of like internal meltdown, and it begins pouring syrup all over the table.
Yep.
And I mean, all over it. To the point where the waitress comes back and just goes, why?
I have to clean that.
I have to clean all of that. And then Jackson looks down at what she's done and is like, we should go. I'm so sorry. Here's all my money.
Me working in the service industry so long, for years, was like, oh no. But yeah, at least she gave her money.
Yeah, but Jesus.
So anyway, we get what's next? I forget.
This is where we learn about the time where we learned that Sam can sense the creatures with his baby foot.
That's right.
Because apparently his foot is psychically connected to them. So they go to try to hunt down and get a hold of one of them. And they manage this. Pull over. They see like 3 of them outside of a building. Grab one. Shove her in the trunk. And then turn to find some random dude watching. And
right. A random regular person.
Regular dude just watching them put what looks like a little girl into a trunk. In the middle of the
cell phone out. Like,
he just slowly raises his cell phone and takes a picture of them.
Jackson handles that shit.
Yeah. She launches herself at him and goes full like screaming mad woman, smashes his phone and is just like, get out of here! And he just takes off. And she's like, yeah, if you act crazy, people leave you alone.
So they end up taking one of the captured girls.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Birch.
Yeah.
Back to...
All of them are Birch. Yeah.
Did they go back to...
They went back to Jackson's house with Birch.
Yeah.
And then Lotus wakes up and finds Chompy dead in his house, which is the point where we learned that they're called mouth angels.
I guess so.
Yeah, because Lotus, of course, knows exactly what the fuck this is and texts her, like, how did you kill a mouth angel? You know, that sort of thing.
He's got all the right books. They established that earlier.
Yeah, no, Lotus knows everything. Like, isn't stoked, but takes most of this in stride. So there's continuing, like, family drama and therapy as they are, like, driving back to Jackson's place and when they get there and all sorts of other stuff. Like, there's...
Well, they hold themselves up there, but also, like, the place starts getting, like,
surrounded by little
surrounded
girls.
by all the girl clones, Birch clones.
Right, but this is also but that drive is important because that's where we get the exposition of, like, all we do is make small talk. Maybe we should have, never got married. We used to be friends.
Yeah.
And that's where also we find out about Jackson's heroin use and that she, like, moved to escape all of that and then, like, is worried that the cycle is starting again and, this, that, and the other.
I love the balance of, like, comedy, weird, action, drama. It's all actually handled really well. Like, nothing lingers too long before something alleviates it.
Right. Where she's, like, where they're getting into this, like, maybe we should get a divorce conversation. And she's like, guys, this is really good, but we're here and I need to get that out of my trunk.
Exactly.
And then we get to, like, essentially, like, our final, like, our last act, I guess.
Yeah, the last act where after, like, some fighting and whatnot, they end up jumping into the...
Well, Lotus brings the mouth angel in his trunk.
Right.
And
And the mouth is still open. He's just laying in the trunk.
Yeah, he's just dead.
So they're jumping in, right?
So, and Lotus is like, I'm not fucking coming in. Oh my god, these little girls are fucking staring at me now. I don't like this. And Sam is telling them, like, they're capable of hurting you, but they're scared. They're not angry. That sort of thing. Deb ends up getting grabbed by one of them because, like, a window in the bedroom was open, and she ends up with a baby hand. So she and Sam, like, hole up in the bathroom while these little girls are, like, attacking. And Jackson and one of the little girls, like, dive into the open mouth. And, like, it's, like, it looks like Dead Space. It's, like, all purple and black.
Yeah.
But she can see, like, the creature, like, all, like, black cloud on this girl. And essentially is like, I'm going to take this monster from you. I can handle it. You give that to me.
It was like the Exorcist moment.
Yeah.
Where it's like, come into me!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's, where she talks about, the little girl talks about not being able to resist, its want to take over, and then you kind of get that relationship between Jackson's, like, addiction, and Jackson is like, fuck you, you're not taking this little girl, I'm gonna do this. And once the creature's a part of Jackson, the little girl is free, so she escapes, and Jackson then, like, all the clones then look like her, so she calls them all to the Mouth Angel, and they get fixed one by one.
And they all get sent back.
Yeah, they all jump out. And then Sam is one of the last ones to come in and get fixed, to get saved. And
because it was only his foot.
Yeah.
But he still comes in.
Yeah. No, he had gotten taken over. Both he and Deb got fully taken over. Remember, they burst into the bathroom.
That's right.
So he changed back.
Then
he sees Jackson struggling, and she finally calls out for help. And he's like...
And his dad... His unknown dad senses.
Dad instincts kick in, and he yells, get the fuck off my daughter. And he, like, goes to help her and is like...
Get away from her, you bitch!
Yeah, basically, like, ripping this, like, cloud of black nothing off of her to, like, save her. And then they're trying to jump out of the mouth before, like, they fade away, and she just doesn't have the strength to jump. And then the pink noose gets lowered into the mouth.
Poetic
as
shit.
And Lotus is there to save the day, and Deb helps Lotus pull them both out.
Pull them the fuck out of, like, the void, or, whatever cosmic weird is. Yeah.
And then it ends with them all going to get breakfast.
Fucking...
Yeah. And Jackson realizing she needs help, and that Sam and Deb are going to get a divorce. Yeah.
So...
With breakfast.
So this is a weird ass B movie.
Yeah.
Schlock ass movie. I think it qualifies for schlock abuse, but
I wouldn't call it abuse. Like it's schlocky. It's more weird than it is schlocky.
True.
Like it's one of those things that if you were just like, Murph, what category do you put this in? I'd be like, I don't know. What do you call nightmare logic? Well-scripted nightmare logic.
Maybe a little tiny part of this is also I felt really bad about last time.
I definitely think it's more than
and
that.
I just felt like this was going to be like a stupid low-budget movie that,
No, this is...
And if you hated it, you hated it, but like,
No, I love this. This was great. Although I did have a moment where I started getting like all emotional. Like I started feeling a feeling, and I was like...
She dropped a tear at one point at the end.
Oh, Jackson?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I saw her start to tear up.
You did turn to me.
And I was just like, Grutz, if I cry during this movie, I will punch you. With all the love in my heart.
I don't want to get punched over Chompy.
I'm not going to abuse you, but the sentiment was there.
In any case, that was Chompy and the girls.
Yeah,
right?
And it was a lot of fun. This is a schlock abuse that I would recommend people watching. Like, it
does happen from time to time.
Yeah,
like it's usually unintentional. Yeah. This wasn't intentionally to be. Well, it was makeup.
Yeah,
it was makeup sex. Whatever.
The movie version.
Yeah, podcast makeup sex.
Podcast makeup sex. That's a very different podcast, sir.
Oh, well, fine. Whatever. In any case.
Actually, considering what movies we've watched and what movies we're all interested in, it might not be that different a podcast.
I mean, come on now. But we have run just a tad long, and we love all of our listeners. But we want to let everybody know that check out all the shows on the GUI Network at GUIPodcast.com.
That's right. Find us on Instagram.
That's right. You can check out Beautiful Disasters on Instagram at
beautiful_disasters_podcast. You can also find the GUI podcast on Instagram as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's a good way to keep up with, the stuff that we've got dropping. Find us on Facebook, drop us emails, hit us up with suggestions, hit us up with schlock abuse suggestions. I mean, we're down for all sorts of challenges. I would love to have a listener challenged schlock abuse.
Yeah. No, we want it.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
Yes. So, thank you so very much for listening. I am happy that you actually enjoyed this one a little bit.
I did enjoy this one, yes.
Great. So, for Beautiful Disasters, I've been the Grutz.
I'm Murphy.
Thanks for listening.
Stay beautiful, motherfucker! I just like yelling that.
Coming straight from the mouths of madness, I'm Lowdown.
I'm F.U. Hunter.
Do you love horror?
We fucking do.
So this is a podcast dedicated to all things in cinematic horror. We're talking movies, television, composers, special effects artists. We're gonna fucking cover it.
So if you love horror,
embrace the madness.
In a world with too many reboots and remakes,
two men will stop at nothing to make it even worse.
Join Mike the Hobbit and Chompy as they play by their own rules while pitching new takes on some of your favorite and least favorite films and TV shows. What podcast would dare to bring this upon the world?
This is Smack My Pitch Up.
GUIPodcast.com.